Very sorry that I'm using this device because my mic ran out of the battery and I did not know it ran out of the battery. So we'll fix this the next time. But right now, if you can bear with this, I want to talk about why I ended up in depression. Okay, so let me go back to 1998. I was a pretty talented musician. I play the guitar, as you must have seen in the first video, and I was pretty talented, and I played with some of the best musicians in India and some of the very well known musicians across the world. And when they came down to Bangalore, we jammed. I've had the privilege of sharing the stage with some awesome musicians in my lifetime, in my day. Um, and as you can also tell, I'm pretty good at English. I write well, and I'm a voracious reader. They say readers are leaders. So I was on my way for something extraordinary. And my teacher, who taught me the guitar to play the guitar, his name is Amit Heri. Amit Heri recommended that I try going to Berkeley to study music. And when he recommended that, I went back home and I asked for help to go to the US to study music. And they refused at home because obviously we could not afford it. And when they could not afford it, what happened as a result in my mind was I felt that the whole world was meant to be against me, and my whole world caved in right on top of me. And I felt that the whole world was my enemy, God was my enemy, circumstances were my enemies, and no matter how hard I tried, I would never excel and become what I ever wanted to be. So, skip a few years. After a few years as a musician, I moved on. I went back to the seminary to study, and I won't say I'm blessed with extraordinary intellect, but I do slightly lean towards philosophy and things like that. So when I came out, I had a couple of titles in my mind, and I wanted to become a writer. So I here what happens is that I come back home, I write the outline of my book, and I start writing. When I begin writing, somewhere along the line, what happens to me is that I come face to face with what is called the imposter syndrome. I suddenly felt inadequate. I felt like I was not educated enough. I had not graduated from some of the world's top universities. I was not good enough. I was not good looking enough. I was not intellectual enough. I felt that all that had to be said has already been said in in the previous books, and that I would just add to the cacophony of the content that was already there, and that what I had to say would never amount to anything or influence anybody in life. So, what I do then as a result is that I box myself in, and my sense of inadequacy, uh, began to shrink my world. And I felt again, I came to this feeling that this whole world was against me. I would never excel because, up there are leaders, who gatekeepers who will never allow anyone else to come up, etc., etc. I felt that the whole world was my enemy. God was my enemy. My fate was my enemy, and all that nonsense. And eventually, what happened was that I stopped trying and I began to wallow in my self pity. So finally, in 2009, I move on. I tried because I felt inadequate to be a philosopher and a writer. I decided I'll become an entrepreneur. So I was in an ad agency till then working as a copywriter and a designer. I decided I'm going to start my own ad agency. So I did start and I did really well. We had great clients. We were doing very well, but some business fundamentals were missing in our life, in our thinking, and so besides that, the recession had set in, and I had to close down the company. I had to shut it down, followed by two more companies, two more ventures. One of them still survives, but they are marked in my resume as failures. Okay, so all these failures accumulated in my head. They were latent in my life, in my mindset. I was wallowing in self pity, and I had reached a point mentally where I stopped trying. Okay, and because I stopped trying, life came to a grinding halt. And in 2021, I lost my parents. So what was latent in my heart, in my mind, just broke open because life became a hopeless situation. I'd lost everything. I have classmates who are very successful, and here I was, who held the highest amount of promise, whose life was nothing but a failure story, a story of underfulfilled potential. And I knew that I had become worthless. And so uh, in 2022, deep in depression, for some extraordinary reason, I made an attempt on my life, the first and the last. When I made that attempt on my life, I realized that if I did not seek help, or if I did not take control of uh, my life would never ever amount to anything. And so I began Deep Life Talk as a conversation, as a story of my struggle to overcome the odds of life. You can overcome too, if you stop wallowing in your self pity and accept the responsibility for your own actions, like me. And so, starting from today, things are going to change. I'm going to write this year. I'm going to write 2 books, and I'm going to put those. I'm going to display those 2 books to you. And I'm obese. I'm going to lose weight. I'm unhealthy. I'm diabetic. I'm going to reverse my diabetics, and I'm going to shrink my liver. I'm going to fulfill every dream of my life, and I'm going to rebuild my life from absolutely nothing. You can follow the story of the struggle through Deep Life Talk. And if you want motivation, this is what motivation looks like: hard work, focus, and remember, the top belongs to the excellent, not to the gatekeeper. You can gate crash to the top because no one can stop you from being the best that you are. God has given you uh, the ability to excel at anything you want. You have 3 billion neurons, just like every human being, and life is tough on everyone else. Don't even begin to say, "Oh, but my life is different." No, everybody's life sucks. Okay. And finally, I want to tell you something. If you want to excel in life, if you want to become the best in life, and if you want success to be under your feet, then practice one biblical principle. It is called excellence. The Greek word used for excellence, I'm a Christian, and I love the Lord, and I follow Jesus Christ. And for me, His scriptures are my lifeline and the light of my life. And so the the word used for excellence in New Testament is the word arete. Arete literally means the fullest realization of one's potential. Let me repeat that. Arete literally means the fullest realization of one's potential. And that is what life should be. You practice excellence and everything else will follow. In fact, I'm going to prove to myself that if I am the best at what I'm doing, then nobody else in this world can have the right to stop me, can ever stop me from achieving my fullest potential. So thank you for your patience. Watch the space as I lose my weight, reverse my diabetes, and shrink my liver, and literally rebuild my life brick by brick. This is going to be an exciting journey. Watch and participate in the story. Like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment if you want to be a part of the story. Thank you very much. God bless. See you next time.